The NFL is star-studded, filled with spectacular athletes that amaze us every Sunday. It's also an exclusive club. Making it to the NFL is an accomplishment in its own right. So, to be the best player on your team puts you in elite status. Today, we're going over the best offensive and defensive player on every NFL team going into the 2020-2021 season. The Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins. The newly acquired Hopkins might be the best receiver in the league. They say a great receiver is a quarterback's best friend, so former Rookie of the Year Kyler Murray should be able to take his game to the next level with Hopkins available to throw to. Chandler Jones. Jones has been wrecking backfields for almost a decade now. Analysts keep anticipating him to fall off, and he just keeps sacking the quarterback. Maybe the best is yet to come, as Jones recorded an insane 19 sacks in 2019. The Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones. Jones can do it all at the receiver position, and his connection with quarterback Matt Ryan keeps getting better and better. His sideline snag in Super Bowl 50 is one of the most underrated moments in football history. Jones is also one of 6 players to have a 300-yard receiving game, only adding to his impressive resume. Grady Jarrett. Grady can clog up the middle and rush the passer from his defense tackle spot. That's a combination that very few players have. Not too many nose tackles can boast 20 sacks in their career. And Super Bowl 50 was Jarrett's coming out party. The Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson burst onto the scene last season, quarterbacking the Ravens to the greatest single-season rushing effort ever. Jackson is the most electric player in the NFL, wowing people with his arm and dazzling defenders with his legs. Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey is a throwback-style corner who combines speed and physicality to shut down receivers week in and week out. Unlike many modern corners, Humphrey invites contact and enjoys tackling ball carriers. With Earl Thomas no longer in the Ravens secondary, more pressure will be put on Humphrey to perform. The Buffalo Bills. Stefon Diggs. Newly acquired from the Vikings, Stefon Diggs brings life to a run-dominant Bills offense. If he and Allen can create a connection, the NFL could be in trouble. Diggs is a premier route runner in the league, cutting and stopping on a dime, with corners just unable to keep up. TRE'DAVIOUS White. White jumped straight from college to the NFL and immediately became one of the best cover corners in the league. He has a knack for making the big play when it matters most. Teams are starting to shy away from White's side of the field, effectively cutting opposing offenses in half. The Carolina Panthers. Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the only running back to ever have back-to-back 100-reception seasons. Now that Cam Newton has left the Panthers, McCaffrey will be expected to carry even more of the offensive workload. If anybody can do it, McCaffrey can. There's not a more well-rounded and dangerous offensive player in the league. Kawann Short. Short has been a disruptive defender for a decade now from his 3 technique. He has the ability to blow up plays before they even get started. Short continues to produce well into the prime of his career. The Chicago Bears. Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's catch radius and strong hands make him the top target for whoever the Bears' next quarterback is. Corners fail to cover Robinson, as he has forced more defensive pass interference penalties than any other receiver. Khalil Mack. Since being traded from the Raiders, Mack has remained a dominant, unblockable force. Mack has the ability to take over games from the outside linebacker position and always seems to turn it up during primetime games. When the lights are the brightest, Mack shows up and shows out. The Cincinnati Bengals. A.J. Green. Although he was hurt last year, no one should forget how dominant a pass catcher A.J. Green is. When healthy, he's one of the more consistently productive receivers in the league. Green has a nearly flawless repertoire, possessing speed, strength, leaping ability, and route running. Geno Atkins. Geno Atkins has been one of the best pass-rushing interior linemen for a decade now. His long stretch of production shows just how big and fast of an athlete he is. Atkins' first step blows past blockers as he destroys runners in the backfield. The Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb. seemingly always in another running back's shadow. When Chubb gets his opportunity, he takes full advantage. He led the Browns to one of the best rushing attacks in the league in the second half of the 2019 season. The bruising back can also speed right past defenders. Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is an absolute athletic juggernaut. He disrupts plays and can do everything needed of a defensive end, even if it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. He uses incredible power to bull rush offensive linemen on the way to the quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys. Zach Martin. The Cowboys invested in their offensive line for 3 straight drafts, and it netted them the best offensive guard in the league. Martin is a centerpiece of the Cowboys' offense, even though he rarely gets the recognition. At a thankless but critical position, Martin is one of the premier O-linemen in the league. DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence possesses both the technique and pure athleticism to single-handedly take over games. When he's at his best, the Cowboys' defense can stop anyone in the league. Lawrence uses a deadly chop club pass rush combination to dominate the line of scrimmage. The Denver Broncos. Courtland Sutton. It didn't take long for the big-bodied SMU receiver to make his mark on the NFL. Physically dominant at the catch point, Drew Lock has a solid #1 target to grow with. Von Miller. Everybody knows Von Miller. He manhandled the Panthers to a Super Bowl victory. Miller has the flexibility and athleticism to dominate for years to come, and is a prominent pass rusher in the league. The Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford. Stafford is the most underrated quarterback in the league, posting better numbers than any other quarterback under 30 years old. Even after losing an elite receiver in Calvin Johnson, Stafford remained one of the most gifted passers in the league. Trey Flowers. Head coach Matt Patricia brought Flowers with him from New England to help jumpstart their defense. Flowers has the rare ability to be both an anchor against the run and sack the quarterback. The Green Bay Packers. David Bakhtiari. Relatively unknown out of Colorado, Bakhtiari's blend of athleticism and nastiness has served him well. He immediately became one of the best blindside protectors for Aaron Rodgers and has shut down some of the best pass rushers in the league. Jaire Alexander. Alexander is a ball hawk, an elite zone and man cover corner. He took little time to develop into a player that can shut down teams' #1 receiver. The Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson. Watson is purely a winner, even when the odds are against him. With his favorite target DeAndre Hopkins being traded away in the offseason, even more of the workload will be on Watson. Already one of the league's best passers, Watson has the potential to be an all-time great. J.J. Watt. Injuries have slowed down J.J. Watt over the past 2 years, but when he's on the field, he is undoubtedly one of the greatest defenders of all time. J.J. Watt will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer for sure. The Indianapolis Colts. Quentin Nelson. Nelson's style of play has inspired the next generation of linemen. He doesn't have a hole in his game, and there's probably nobody in the league better at finishing blocks than Nelson. Darius Leonard. In the new age of spreading the ball around and passing more than you run, Darius Leonard is perfect for the NFL. A linebacker in a safety's body, Leonard can not only knife through the backfield, but can also cover slot receivers or tight ends. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Brandon Linder. When healthy, Linder is the most underrated center in the league. He captains the line, making pre-snap adjustments and calls. Not to mention, he's versatile enough to excel in both gap and zone blocking schemes. Myles Jack. Myles Jack is the most athletic linebacker in the league. He's a big play guy, regularly forcing fumbles and intercepting passes. And if he improves the finer points of his play, he has the chance to be an elite linebacker. Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. There's no one quite like Patrick Mahomes, and after a $503 million signing deal, you can see why. He makes plays in and outside the structure of a play design. The preeminent star of the league, Mahomes helped lead the Chiefs to a comeback Super Bowl victory this past season. Ultra-talented and extremely coachable, the sky's the limit for Patrick Mahomes. Tyrann Mathieu. Affectionately referred to as the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu is a turnover machine. Undersized, but overly effective, he's a Swiss Army knife that the Chiefs use in a different way nearly every week. The Los Angeles Chargers. Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen just flat out gets open. Not the most athletic or the fastest receiver, Allen uses his superb route-running savvy to leave defenders in the dust. When healthy, he changes the entire landscape of games. He can turn a 5-yard pass into a 75-yard touchdown in the blink of an eye. Joey Bosa. The older of the Bosa brothers, Joey dominates blockers with ease. His combination of size, speed, and power forces offenses to game plan against him every week. The Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp. The Eastern Washington product, Kupp, uses defenders' underestimation against them. He's become a favorite for quarterback Jared Goff on third downs. Regularly converting drives is the key cog in the Rams' engine. Aaron Donald. Donald is the best defensive player in the league. There are not many times you can watch a defensive highlight film and not be able to take your eyes off of it. Offensive linemen struggle to even lay a finger, let alone block Aaron Donald. The Miami Dolphins. Devontae Parker. It took Devontae Parker a while to really show what he's capable of, but in the past 2 years, he's been a shining light in a rather dark time for Miami. With new quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, expect Parker to continue climbing up the ranks of the top receivers in the league. Xavier Howard. Howard was the most underrated and underappreciated corner in the league until he got paid last year. While the casual fan might not know much about him, NFL receivers sure do. He uses his length and technique to shut down even the best receivers in the league. The Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has a claim for the most explosive runner in the league. He may also be the best wide zone runner in the NFL, matching perfectly with the Minnesota Vikings' offensive scheme. In the open field, Cook just destroys the angles defenders think they have on him. Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith has been a steady hand for the elite Vikings defense. The captain of his team, he mans the center field and makes defensive calls. But he's also a fantastic athlete, casting a no-fly zone over the middle of the field. The New England Patriots. Julian Edelman. The greatest playoff receiver of all time, Julian Edelman, has torched many defenses time and time again from the slot. Without his best friend and longtime quarterback Tom Brady in the mix, it'll be interesting to see if Edelman can maintain his high production. Stephon Gilmore. Gilmore is the best corner in the league. He doesn't get much press because he's not as outspoken or as loud as his peers, but he is a magnet for making huge plays in clutch moments. He's a technician in every sense of the word, and that will allow him to dominate for years to come. The New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas. Thomas just put up the greatest receiving effort ever, catching 149 passes in 2019. Corners know that he's going to run a slant route, and it just doesn't matter. Even when Drew Brees went down with an injury, it still didn't matter. Thomas was statistically by far the best receiver in football last year. Cameron Jordan. Jordan is the explosive force for the Saints defense, compiling sacks and tackles for a loss at will. And at 6'4", 290 pounds, he's built like a tank and blows up offenses like one too. The New York Giants. Saquon Barkley. Barkley is the best athlete on every field he steps on. With thighs like tree trunks, Saquon breaks tackles with ease and shakes defenders out of their shoes. He's the focal point for the Giants' offense, and they expect a lot out of him in the upcoming season. Leonard Williams. While it doesn't show much on the stat sheet, Leonard Williams had an immediate impact after being traded to the Giants. He demands double teams on every run down and gives the Giants an interior pass rushing threat. The New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell. Being the only catalyst on a decimated offense, Le'Veon Bell should expect to have a much better season for the Jets this year. He's still one of the most versatile offensive weapons in the league, utilizing a patient style of running and creativity in breaking tackles. Avery Williamson. With Jamal Adams being traded and C.J. Mosley opting out of playing this season, Avery Williamson will have to shoulder the load in the middle of the field. Williamson missed the 2019 season due to a torn ACL, but in 2018, he was second behind only Jamal Adams in tackles. This year, he'll look to return to that form and captain the Jets' defense. The Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs. One of the most talented young running backs in the NFL, Josh Jacobs is the full package. He runs angry like a power back, but also has a patience to his game, allowing him to find holes and explode through them. If it weren't for an injury late in the year, Jacobs would have been a shoo-in for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Despite that, he's already the centerpiece for the Raiders' offense. LaMarcus Joyner. LaMarcus Joyner is a dynamite nickel corner specialist, going head-to-head against the best slot receivers in football. Even though he's undersized, he's become one of the best in the game by relying on his instincts and ball-hawking abilities. The Philadelphia Eagles. Jason Kelce. Kelce is the glue that keeps the Eagles' offense together. No matter who is at quarterback, he commands the line of scrimmage and is one of the best athletes in the NFL that you may have never heard of. Fletcher Cox. On any given down, your play could be destroyed by Fletcher Cox. With an explosive first step and expert in pass rush techniques, Fletcher has made his mark harassing offenses in the NFL from his defensive tackle position. The Pittsburgh Steelers. David DeCastro. DeCastro is one of the most complete and steady hands in the NFL, a building block of one of the best year-in, year-out offensive lines with the Steelers. He lacks any weakness in his game and always plays his best against the NFL's elite foes. T.J. Watt. JJ's younger brother, Watt has made a mark of his own by being an absolute thorn in the side of offenses. He dominates the game with a wide array of moves in his pass rush arsenal. He's also an expert at causing strip sack fumbles, forcing 15 in his young career. The San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle. The most dynamic weapon in the NFL, George Kittle can stretch you horizontally and vertically in the pass game. Then on the very next play, he can help spring a huge run with his dominant blocking. There's not a player that impacts the game more at the tight end position than Kittle. Nick Bosa. The younger of the Bosa brothers, Nick had immediate and enormous success in his rookie year with the 49ers. Bosa stood out as an unbelievable pass rusher, an undeniable tackle machine, and an unstoppable player all around. The Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson. With the Seahawks' struggles running the ball, Wilson has nearly willed his team into the playoffs the past few years. His unique style of quarterbacking allows him to extend plays, torching opposing defense with both his legs and his arm. Not to mention, Wilson is one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner is exactly what a middle linebacker should look like. He's big, strong, fast, and instinctual. Wagner diagnoses plays quickly and is an absolute asset in pass coverage. He can also sprint sideline to sideline and shut down the run with ease. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady. The GOAT, Tom Brady, has a new team, but that doesn't mean you should expect a drop in production. Wanting to play into his mid-40s, there's no reason he shouldn't, with his ability to stay upright and quickly decipher defenses peppering the ball near and far. Lavonte David. Lavonte David has a nose for the football. He pairs that with being one of the best athletes in the world, darting into backfields and making plays in coverage. David has compiled over 1,000 tackles in his career, playing all three linebacker positions, and it seems like he's getting better with age. The Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry. Henry has put on an absolute show the past 2 seasons, hitting the prime of his career right when the Titans needed him. Tennessee rode the Derrick Henry Express all the way to a surprise AFC Championship game appearance. If Henry gets 2 steps moving forward, he's like a freight train and is impossible to bring down. By the fourth quarter, defenses just don't want to tackle Henry, leading to huge late-game performances. Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard is your safety's favorite safety. Typically manning the center field for the Titans, Byard suffocates passing lanes and regularly intercepts balls that you don't even believe he can get to. While he's not as known as some of the other elite safeties in the league, his 17 interceptions in 3 seasons shows just how great he is. The Washington Football Team. Brandon Scherff. From the offensive lineman factory University of Iowa, Brandon Scherff is one of the best and nastiest of them all. The Redskins have a myriad of backs, and all have had success running directly behind Scherff. Defenders just hate going against him, as he brutalizes opponents, engulfing them with his size and strength. Jonathan Allen. Even though Allen was injured most of his rookie season, he has since shown why he was drafted highly by the Redskins out of Alabama. From the strong end position, he has exceeded career sack highs every season in the league, totaling 14, while also being a menace in the run game. Looks like Allen will be demanding double teams for the next decade. So, there you have it, the best offensive and best defensive player on every team in the NFL. Is your favorite player on this list? And who are you looking forward to watching in the upcoming NFL season? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, and feel free to subscribe. As always, thanks for watching Non-Stop Sports. We'll catch you next time.